Hello and welcome back to this amazing YouTube channel. One of the best ones I've ever seen in my entire life. And in today's video, what we're gonna do here is, So everywhere you go, in the United States. Well, from my perspective, everywhere I go, locally, you know, I'm confronted with fucking political fucking flags and fucking bumper stickers. Fucking people got their houses fucking trashed with just fucking all these different kinds of fucking political bullshit everywhere. Okay? Just about any fucking podcast you listen to, they're talking about some kind of political idea. And anybody you really come into contact with is identified with some kind of position politically, and they are trying to memorize all of the talking points so they could get into an argument with somebody and they could get the little ego boost of owning somebody or something. So, just to give some backstory here, back in the day, I used to use social media very differently than I currently do. So what I mean by that is, back maybe like 6 years ago, maybe longer, maybe like 8 years ago, I used to use social media to, just entertain myself. I used to just scroll on Twitter. I used to go on YouTube and watch, YouTube creators for entertainment all the time. And, I ended up taking in a lot of political ideology from, people who made content on those subjects. And I became addicted to watching the same person talk about all these different talking points over and over. And then there's a time where I went to work and I got into a full-blown argument with my boss about Bernie Sanders, and I was just spewing all of the talking points that I had been taking in from this YouTube channel, and I was winning, and then afterwards, it was a whole fucking 30-minute fucking argument. And it's hilarious because the whole entire kind of stance that I had taken was built on this foundation of no research, no actual authentic intellectual curiosity and honesty. I didn't try to actually expose myself into a deeper, the roots of all these different, ideas. I just found one, and then I just went down a rabbit hole, and then I just wanted to use the same talking points to go argue with people and, get an ego boost or something. It was silly, right? So eventually, what ended up happening is I ended up changing a lot of my habits in life. I ended up right now, I don't go on any social media. I don't use YouTube to entertain myself. I never just scroll on any kind of social media. I don't really even try to use Google unless I absolutely need to, because it's just a huge waste of time and it doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form. And everything that I need to do to improve my life is right in front of me, and it's in the physical world, and it's in my own mind, it's my own thinking I need to do. And, social media for me, is just one huge distraction. And a lot of the political content creators, a lot of it is just, it sounds just like the same shit they've been saying for like years. Like, it doesn't change. And it's like, I really think that people aren't honest about their motivations for identifying with different political groups. I think that most people aren't intellectually honest when it comes to doing research, when it comes to examining different ideologies, when it comes to trying to get down to the bottom of what is rational. Okay, what is actually rational here? Like, let me actually go look at different ideologies. Let me actually try to expose myself to more than just one echo chamber, which is what, like, I think most people through social media, they just find something and they don't do any research, they don't expose themselves to any other ideologies, and then they just go down a rabbit hole. And then they get out of it, and then now they're identified with these positions, and they just want to, like, they're just waiting to argue with people, to buy like a fucking merchandise. And it's all built on this shallow and mindless foundation where there is no authenticity with, they didn't even try to see what was actually out there and actually form a rational perspective, right? So, yeah, I'm someone who, like I said, I distance myself from all of that shit. I don't, my political views, I'm much, much more interested in having a overall intellectual development that spans across many different branches of philosophy, rather than just jump to cementing a political identity. Like, I want to study different kinds of thinking and see what seems to be the most rational to me in terms of metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and then eventually once I build these foundations and what I think to be rational, which is an open-minded approach, which is subject to new evidence and new ways of thinking, you know what I mean? Then I will, and if I absolutely need to examine some kind of political event to vote or to exercise some kind of individual power or to have a conversation with somebody about these things, I'm going to do it based on my own thoughts from what I think to be rational. And I'm open to new evidence, and I'm open to new ways of thinking. But I think that the vast majority of people, politics is a huge distraction from their actual problems and what they actually need to do to improve their life. And they don't know shit about philosophy. They don't know shit about metaphysics. They don't know, they've never even asked themselves what they think is rational. It's like they just got sucked into an echo chamber and that was the end of it. And, it's sad because you have a bunch of idiots like walking around who think they know everything. And you know what I mean? Like, I'll be the first to say, like, I'm open to new evidence. I'm open to new ways of thinking, right? But I do try to find out what is rational to me. And I do try to actually understand these things. And I do try to think about these things when I'm forced to, when I need to exercise some kind of individual power. But 99% of my life has nothing to do with fucking whatever the fuck the media is saying about fucking politics. And I think it's just this really fucking silly, stupid waste of energy. I think most people out there who are identified to political positions are stupid, and they are distracting themselves, and they need to actually go back and study philosophy from the ground up. But, you know, for most people, that takes too much intellectual development. Again, it's like when you need to get in shape and you need to go to the gym and you need to study fitness programs and science behind diet and exercise and construct your own exercise program on a daily basis based on your own goals and situation, that takes a lot of fucking commitment and work and consistency and discipline and work ethic, and it's transformational and it works, but it requires energy, requires effort. Okay, it's the same thing with intellectual development. Okay, there's no shortcut, you know what I mean? Like, you have to go fucking ask yourself questions. You have to be selective. You have to actually try to expose yourself to different philosophies and ways of thinking and ideologies and science behind psychology and neuroscience. You have to actually go out and explore different fields and actually try to get to the bottom of building a rational foundation for living in the world based, and that has to be open to new evidence, that has to be open to better arguments. And you can't be in an echo chamber. You have to be constantly stimulating yourself in many different opposing ideas and many different, and you have to start from the bottom. You have to start from the roots philosophically through history. You have to start from metaphysics. You have to start from epistemology. You have to start from ethics. But people, that takes so much work and commitment, and you have to really make it a daily habit to go and read books and fucking find better sources of information. I think it's like the same thing with getting in shape. Some people are like at the verge of dying and they won't go lose weight. They'd rather die. It's the same thing with intellectual development. Some people would rather fucking be stupid than go and fucking actually develop a solid intellect. So, I think it's like when you go like walk around and you see all these people who are identified to political positions and identities, it's equivalent to going to a gym and seeing somebody get plastic surgery on like their abs and get like a fucking fat removal procedure done, and then they try to tell you how to work out and how to eat right. It's like, dude, you didn't put in the work. You don't know how to eat right. You don't know how to work out. You went and you tried to take a shortcut, and you went and you tried to get fucking surgery done. It's the same thing with people who claim to know what they're talking about by going into an echo chamber on Facebook and fucking and saying that they know what the fuck is going on in the world. Like, dude, you're crazy, and none of this shit matters. It's all a distraction from what you actually need to do to improve your life. So, with all that being said, that is my advice and my perspective on, my advice for people who want to be more rational, live more rationally, and have a better fucking relationship to reality is to get the fuck away from all that shit that's distracting you from your actual problems and goals, and start to work on starting from the ground up in terms of developing an intellect, and start from the base of philosophy and expose yourself to many different kinds of ideas and think for yourself and ask yourself questions on what seems to be rational to you. And be open to new evidence and new theories and new arguments and new ways of thinking, and find out which is the most rational to you. You know what I mean? And that's how you live rationally. And it's the same way you live, it's the same way you achieve physical fitness. It takes work, it takes commitment, it takes dedication, it takes consistency. You have to make it a daily habit. You have to make it a part of your life to be rational, to consistently be a rational person. You have to be developing intellectually. And there's no shortcuts for it. So that's my advice for somebody who wants to fucking have a more rational way of living in today's world. And then, you know, that's just my perspective on people who are so fucking tied into their political identities, and they just go on social media all day, and they go on fucking Google all day, go on fucking Facebook and go down the rabbit hole and buy all this fucking merchandise, and they fucking try to argue with everybody, and they're dogmatic, and they're in an echo chamber, and they just repeat what the fuck they heard their favorite fucking political commentator say, who's just trying to fucking make some money. It's fucking ridiculous, okay? It's ridiculous. Has nothing to do with what you actually need to care about. And that's all for today's video. So, if you've enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you motherfuckers in the next one. Goodbye.